that worked.
Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. Sorry we're late. I am your host, Justin. Craig, you're up.
What's going on, everybody? This is Game Master Craig here. You may know me from TikTok. I'm big on posting D&D content on TikTok. Really happy to be here with the Crit Academy guys today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm your co-host Ian for Crit Academy.
And I'm your co-host Austin, also from Grid Academy. If you don't recognize us, you've been dead for a while. I don't know.
We hope to inspire you with our creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure. I want to thank you for joining us today. Sorry for the delay. Apparently, when the network people came out, they upgraded me to IPv6, and apparently OBS didn't like that, so it took me about 10 minutes to figure out how to get that back. So I do apologize for the wait, and I appreciate your patience. We want to thank you for joining us today here at Curriculum Studios, where everything's made up and your roles don't matter. Ian, will you take that?
Yep, that's right. Your roles are like an epic roleplay without inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration.
Apparently, doesn't come up too often in a lot of games.
Right.
Let's fix that.
I'm really excited for our show today. We are going to talk about one of my favorite mechanics that I feel like could use a little bump. The inspiration. We're going to give you 10 alternative ways to utilize inspiration. And of course, we are joined by Craig, Game Master Craig. I want to thank you for joining us today. You talked a little bit about yourself. I got a few questions for you before we really get into it. If you'd be willing to tell us a little bit more about yourself, and specifically, I'd love to hear about your most memorable role-playing experience.
No.
Okay.
Well,
that'll get us to the end of the show a lot quicker.
Play me out, John. No, so again, thank you so much for having me on your show, guys. It's really great to be here. I am a fan. I love all the stuff you guys are putting out as well.
Thank you.
So I guess a little bit about me. I've been a DM for going on about 8 years now. I was thrust into it when I was young. It's been a family thing here, so it's been really good to be able to experience this game with my brother and uncles and cousins and stuff. It's been really fun to do that, and of course to bring it to other people. You know, to be somebody to educate others, just like you guys do, in playing this game and role playing and creativity. That's the way I see D&D, as a creativity generator. That's what I tend to call it, because that's what it is. And so, yeah, I guess my number one inspiration moment is, and I've got a few, but I think one of the best ones I've got is a moment where, and I don't even know if it's D&D, but it's the same element of, we had a little guy, whether it's a gnome or in Star Wars an Ewok, who had a moment where they used inspiration to reroll, and was able to lift a bolted to the floor steel bench, tear it off the floor, and smash a droid with it.
Awesome.
And that was completely out of this world. But it was because of inspiration that it happened.
That's cool.
There you go.
That's a really good one.
Heroics inspired to be heroic in that moment. It was great.
I love that. It's just like, so, I want to pull this bench up and beat him with it. It's bolted to the floor. Give me a roll. Oh, I'm going to use my inspiration. Oh, damn. The bolts are rusted. That's how you're able to pull it out.
What happened. That's exactly what happened.
That's so awesome. Yeah. One thing that I love about role-playing games is the memories that we create and things that we never forget. And that's one of the things that I feel like makes playing RPGs so much fun. Kind of reminds me of when I read a book and you get that really good scene in your mind and you never forget it. So, so you mentioned you're on TikTok. That's where I found you. I absolutely love your TikTok content, from your character ideas, from even your little videos about horrible movies. Like, I've been cracking up watching those things. So what kind of got you into the content creation of D&D?
That's a really great question. You know, for the longest time, and like we've discussed very briefly off camera, was I'm in the marketing world. That's what I do by day. I'm a marketer, working with small businesses, right? And the thing is getting small businesses out there is very difficult. You have to focus on a niche and you have to be interested in that thing. And I've always thought to myself, well, I should be doing this myself. I could do it for other people, but I should be able to do it for me. But I don't really want to talk about. I don't want to talk about Star Wars. I know everything about it, but I don't want to talk about it. I know all these different things, and I realized, wait a second, Dungeons and Dragons is probably my favorite one to talk about because I know a lot, and it's got, I think, one of the healthiest communities on TikTok. You come across, you don't find a lot of negativity. And when you do, they snuff it out really quick because everybody else is super friendly too. And I like that. You don't get that with things like Star Wars at all. And it's comforting. It's comforting to see that, in that everybody's supporting each other. They're supporting being creative and, finding new ways to think about these ideas and tell stories. Right. And that's my thing, is I'm all about the stories.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you, boss. Well, I want to thank you for sharing a bit of your journey with us. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so you could find me on TikTok, Game Master Craig on TikTok. I'm coming back. I've taken a very small hiatus. I haven't been on for the last week or so, a little more, because of what I'm working on, which is called nightsport.com. where you will be able to find me all the time. You're also going to be able to find a lot of other content creators too. Hopefully Crit Academy joins me on there at some point, where we're bringing that idea of community and positivity off platforms that are, I want to say, controlling or skew a narrative. Things like that, where it's very hard to get your message out there. I think a lot of growing creators, especially in the cosplay nerd space, Dungeons and Dragons, it's very hard to get started. I had an edge. I have an acting background, a filmmaking background, and a marketing background. I know how to get people to listen to me. But I think a lot of other people who have some great ideas, they need a place to get their message out there. Whether it's a new YouTube channel or you trying to get into Instagram. Having a place to do that, to create a community, is essential nowadays, especially that everything's online.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let us know what we can help, because that sounds like you've got a good thing going on, and we'll do whatever we can to help promote it. So
I appreciate that so much.
All right, now just like every episode, before we get into the main topic, we always like to start off by giving away fat loots. Austin, would you like to tell us about the awesome thing we're giving away today?
Absolutely. So we have an RPG Fat Loot giveaway, which is the Adamantine City of Tarondir by CZRPG. Now, Tarondir is a high fantasy, inclusive, and diverse city that you can plug and play just about anywhere, containing guidelines for Forgotten Realms and also Eberron. The module comes with a full setting containing over 30 locations, 38 NPC descriptions, 80 plot hooks, and 35 unique maps, along with a 4th level urban adventure to get you started. It's a lot in one package.
I really liked reading through this. They did a wonderful job, so thank you for allowing us to give away this product. It's really a lot of stuff. The NPCs are awesome. Who's our winner?
Our winner today is Photo at Rick Cameron. Congratulations. Woo! You are the winner of this amazing giveaway right now. But if you didn't win, don't even worry about it. Head over to critacademy.com and subscribe for your chance to win. It's free. It's easy. Just go do it.
Yep. Awesome. If you'd like to follow along with us as we're covering today's episode, you can head on over to critacademy.com/post/episode 211. There you'll find the entire notes that we are going through today. So hopefully you will kind of poke around there and see if you find some stuff you can like. Our Unearthed tips and tricks, we always give you stuff you can take to your table tonight. So, that being said, let's move on to our main topic. 10 alternative ways to use inspiration. That's 2 hands. So first of all, we should probably start off by what is inspiration. Inspiration is a rule in the 5th edition D&D rule set that a game master can use as a reward for a player role-playing their character that's true to their personality, traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, which I thought was really cool. When I first read about it, years ago, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I had to make up my own hero points before. Now it's actually part of the game. I was like, oh, that's really cool. So using inspiration, the character can draw on their character, or the player can draw on their character's personality traits and all that stuff. The things that are fill them with compassion. And when the DM sees that, you have a tool mechanically built into the game to reward that, which I think is just awesome. Now, I feel like as cool as that is, it falls a little short in the feeling like a reward, because it's so easy to get like advantage now with all the different mechanics that allow for it. So it doesn't feel as strong as I feel like it did when I first started. That could just be me. So we kind of wanted to discuss some alternative ways to make that inspiration point be utilized in other ways. Now, what's cool about this is you can either take all of these or none of these, or even add them to the already existing mechanic and say, hey, just so you guys know, these are the things you can use your inspiration on. So let's get started by, I think is one of my favorite ones. And I gotta be honest, I can't take credit for this. I totally saw this on TikTok and I could not find the person's name. So if you know the person, please let me know. It is called Initiative Break. You can expend an inspiration point to move your order in initiative, so long as you have not already taken a turn this round. Game Master Craig, what do you think about that?
See, it's fun stuff like that you find on TikTok that you wouldn't think of outside. It's
Right.
gotta come from someone else, and I think that's so much fun to have that. And that's the kind of thing that's going to drive your dungeon master nuts.
Yes.
Because they're not prepared for it.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I do.
I love it. I love it.
So what do Ian, Austin, what do you guys kind of think about this? Do you think it's on point? Would you change anything?
I'm on favor of it just because this actually used to be a rule in previous editions where you could choose to delay / move your turn down. It just, I forget which one said it though, but one of the designers said, yeah, we stepped away from that because we didn't want NPCs, enemies, and players like jumping around the turn, shuffling stuff around. So I'm like, okay, but I don't like something that's really a thing though, 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah,
But I just think this is going to bring it back into the game.
and honestly, that's what I thought of as the hold action, which usually only lets you move one way. But if you're like at the very bottom and because you had a really terrible roll, that would be a great way. Like, I'm using my inspiration, I'm gonna go to the top or somewhere in the middle, just
Right.
behind the tank, because I'm the cleric, and as soon as he charges, I don't want to heal him. Austin, what do you think?
That's kind of what I was thinking with that. Is like, because I love being in the fray nonstop. As we've all known in our superhero campaign, I chose to swing first in every expense. So this allows me always to swing first, so long as I have inspiration. So to me, this is a fun mechanic for me personally.
Would any of you guys change this in any way?
I don't think so. I
No.
think it's fine as is, at least personally.
Craig?
I like this one. I think it's great. And like I said, it's going to keep the DM on their toes.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
Mm.
All right, Craig, would you like to tell us about our next one? I really like this one.
Number 2 is recharge. You can expend an inspiration point to regain an expended resource or feature that can be used as if you took a short rest. That's a big one, and I wish more people would use it more often. A lot of people, they it's like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I play video games and they give you like a special form, most notably Kingdom Hearts 2, they gave you a drive form.
Yeah.
I never used it because I was like, I'm gonna save that for when I really need it. Little did I know, it changes the game if you use it.
Yeah, it really does.
It changes the whole game. So, same instance here. If you use your resources, because you could do something like this to get them back, and it'd be cool to do that.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
exactly how I feel about the fighter actions. They're just like, oh, but I need to save it in case I gotta fight this really big bad evil guy. But you get on a short rest. I never seem to have short rests.
That might be on me.
Right?
What do you think, Ian?
I do think that getting any short rest features back is always nice, especially since, like, depending, Here's something I can't quite imagine. I do not know where I read this, but apparently 5th edition, they designed a lot of features in mind where they basically expected players to get 5 short rests per day.
Something like that. I don't
And
remember.
I can't think of a single game where that's ever happened.
Or of real life.
Or in real life.
Right. Which is actually one of the reasons why warlocks have so little spells, which
Yeah.
I think is horrible.
You know, one thing that it hadn't occurred to me, and I don't know who's, it was certainly on a TikTok, but one of the things that never occurred to me is the warlocks cast at higher spells. That's why they get their stuff. They're always at the max level for whatever level they're at. And I never actually did the number crunching. But when you compare it, when a wizard gets 1/9 level one ninth level, but only like a handful of 5th level, and I think that's the max level for the warlock's normal spell use. They get way many more uses of 5th level spells than the wizard. Like, if you did the traditional, 4 short rests, they would get like 20 5th level spells in a day. Like, I never had considered that. So, sorry, kind of derailed there.
But keep in mind that they can't even cast. They can only cast 2 spells per short rest until level 11 when they finally gain their 3rd one, which, as you remember, was an issue during our campaign when I played the Warlock for a while.
Yeah, that's because I'm a douche and don't give short rests. Yeah, we did. Anyways, I think this is really cool because it applies to a bunch of different features, and it really encourages somebody to use it normally, knowing if I've got that inspiration, that if I do really need that action surge, I can spend it and instantly get it back. Or for a Warlock, I think I can feel a Warlock taking something like this for the exact reason you just pointed out, that maybe the DM is like me and doesn't give lots of rests. And that is a really good tool. So if you had the list of these options, that would be one as a Warlock I can see myself taking, or as a fighter with my action search taking regularly. Wait, is action search short rest or long rest? Short rest, right?
Short rest.
Okay. So
fighters are all of my friends are out of spell slots. It's a good thing these guns don't run out of spell slots.
All right. What is our next one here?
Our next one.
Our next one we have is shielding. You can expend an inspiration point to roll a number of available hit dice up to your proficiency bonus. And you can add your con modifier to the roll, and those hit points come as temporary hit points, which last for an hour. And I do think the temporary part does help balance this out, too.
So are you purple today?
I guess he's purple now.
I went by the highlight up top.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Blue. Never mind.
It doesn't matter. I think you threw Austin's ass off, though. So shielding. I think this is pretty interesting. I would like to hear Craig's response before I give my own 2 cents.
So whenever I'm a player, most of the time I'm playing somebody who's probably a paladin, probably either a human or custom lineage, and they're designed to be a tank because I find it more interesting to play tactician strategy than anything else. That's just my style.
Yeah,
so to add another feature that allows you to shield maybe even better than other mechanics, that's really nice. And I'm sitting here looking at it thinking, why haven't I done that yet?
It's just
there is some risk that comes with it, though. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's temporary and only lasts an hour, which really should mean that it's only going to be there for that one encounter. And it's so if it's not like you taking a short rest or you're just gaining, like expending these hit die to like gain back your HP.
Right.
So I mean, I could definitely see it's almost like you're like, all right, I'm really just beefing myself up for this fight now. Hopefully I'll get a long rest afterwards. But I mean, if you're like, like the frontline tank guy, you're the paladin that's in the front, you're holding the line, and well, this is really gonna help you out a lot, I feel like. So I mean, I definitely see this not being super broken because of the whole balancing of it only lasts an hour.
Well, and the other thing is a hit die is a very valuable resource because that's how you restore regular hit points. In addition, when you take a long rest, you only get half of them back. So even if you do want to use this, you're forced to use it sparingly because you may not be able to. We get a long rest. I'm full HP, but I've only got 1 hit die now. And I'm level 5, so there is some risks that come with it, but going into like a boss battle and wanting to hype up your character, or say you're preparing or whatever, being able to add the extra hit die, which still could roll a 1, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect.
So it definitely is. I like this mechanic just because it was. It reminded me of the in 4th edition you could do the I think it was Second Wind, which is like the fighter mechanic now.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you could kind of get a little bit of bonus in the middle of combat. Well, you can't normally do that in 5e without some sort of spell, or I can't think of a unique feature that's not really spell related. But
No, I can't
well,
either.
the Second Wind. Never mind, I'm an idiot. That literally is what that does.
Well, aside from maybe that, but that doesn't even use like a hit die. It doesn't use
it's
a
your level plus
It's just a-
D10, right?
feature. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a feature.
So
And you just don't even expend any other resources aside from that, which you get back on a short rest. Fighters are great.
is there anything you guys would change about this? Do you think it's too powerful? I think Ian said he thought it was kind of balanced well.
No,
I mean, the only situation where I could see this being quite a headache for the DM is like, yes, I'm the tank who has full HP walking up to the boss, and I have my inspiration. Well, these are temporary hit points, so I'm just gonna dump all my hit die straight for a shield. Now I'm an extra thick tank.
Yeah, but once
But-
again, the next day, you're
He's
only
gonna feel it.
Yeah, right. Buff now, suffer later.
I think
Yeah.
with a proper team, see a lot of teams that especially I see now are not balanced. You'll have a bard, a rogue, and then like 2 casters all on the same team. But if you had like a healer here, you probably wouldn't want or need this. I could see opting for something like an initiative break or a
Mhm.
swift action over this
Mhm.
to put me in a better place, whether to pull me back or to move me in to defend somebody else.
Right.
I would rather opt for one of those.
Mhm.
But
I
also,
can see that.
I play like, if I die, I die.
You and Austin will get along really well.
Yeah, somehow I haven't died yet. I'm still working through the cogwheel on that one. I'm like, man, I made a lot of really good calculated risks today.
Austin
I
would.
still to this day in my maze we've only had 1 player who's had characters die in our games.
Yeah, and I feel bad
Oh, wow.
because I think he thinks I'm targeting him because of that. And the only time I ever targeted him was when we all did a Battle Royale PvP, and I thought it would be hilarious if he died the exact same way his character died previously. So I disintegrated him. But that was sheer just me being a douche and not as like a dungeon master. So,
Right.
Austin, would you like to tell us about number 4 here?
Absolutely. Next one here is Surging Strike. You can expend an inspiration point on your turn, and you can take 1 attack action or cast a cantrip with the cast a spell action. It was the cast as an action on top of your regular action and possible bonus action.
Now, I felt like I had to actually cast a spell action in there because I wanted it to not funnel like the action surge does, which is only for attacks. I wanted it to be open to other classes, so I had looked at the meta magic feature.
No, I can sure just not the
Quicken.
attacks.
What?
Yeah.
I think you're thinking haste in that regard, which does specify attack.
Oh
surge
yeah,
is any
action surge is just an action in general. Yeah, you're right. I guess I could have kept it that way. Anyways, Craig, what do you think?
I think this is one of those ones where, again, it'd be nice to see if people can use it too. Use this more often. I don't know about you guys, but in my games, inspiration is typically just the swift action. Is what, and it comes down to doing things like this where people know about it. If more people knew that was an option, I think they'd take it.
You think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so as well.
Because of more focus on damage.
On one hand,
Yeah, it's going to come down.
on one hand, I can see some people looking at this and complaining. You're stepping on the fighter's toes when you have this kind of ability. Okay, but the fighter can also use this, and in theory, they can actually search twice in 1 round with this. So take it as you will.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the fighter's thing, is just to punch them in the face a bunch of times. Well,
Yep.
slash them in the face a bunch of times.
So
But you could also look at it as, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I was gonna actually ask you. So what were you gonna say?
Oh, because it's interesting because casting a cantrip doesn't necessarily mean damage. And I
Right.
wouldn't even waste it like that. I would try to use it as a distraction or an escape or think more, because if it's a cantrip for damage, you're only going to do what, a D6 or a D8, maybe a little bit more, with some other bonuses. Go for a distraction, or
Mhm.
go for a cover or dancing lights or light or something.
Mhm.
Thunder. I think is Thunderwave a cantrip? I
Nope.
think it's a cantrip.
first level spell.
I think that's first
No,
level.
there's one of them.
Oh,
It's like
thunder. I know.
what is
Thunderclap. Thunderclap.
thunderclap. That's it, thunderclap. You go for something like that. That's going to disorient the
Hmm.
enemies.
That's
I'd go for
actually
something.
that's really good. I like that. And it's also a great way for you mentioned healing. If somebody is down, you can spend an inspiration to get them back up without having to waste your action, which I think is what drives away most people from wanting to heal. Is they feel
Yeah.
like they're some people. I'm not saying everyone's like this. Feel like they're losing out because they're forced to help somebody. I do think that I should have kept this the way it was before, though. I originally had it as action surge, basically, which it just said you can take an action. But then I decided I wanted it to be a little more offensive. But the more I think about it now, I think that it could be better as just you can use an inspiration for action surge. And what's cool about inspiration is the DM chooses how much they dole out, right? They don't. It's
Mhm.
not something the players just get, so it
Yeah,
makes
it's a
it
controlled
it,
resource.
it makes that resource that much more important to manage. I think. I'm trying to think because I had considered because we needed something more offensive, so that's why I had changed it. But now I think the player is smart enough to be able to make that decision on their own. So if it was changed to just represent action surge, I think that would probably be better. What do you guys think?
Easy edit.
That's true. Like 5 words. um. All right. The next one is Arcane Recovery. I wonder where I got that from. You can expend an inspiration point on your turn to regain some of your magical energy. You can choose to expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your proficiency bonus, rounded up. I really like this one. I think expended resources for spell slots, especially for the warlock or healers, is a good use of this. What do you think, Craig?
Oh, this just goes right back into it. Using using everything you've got at your disposal and not being conservative about it.
Yeah.
And when you have
Mhm.
something like that, you're gonna, all right, fine, I'm doing it now. Yeah, I'll cast the level 2 spell because I've got this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we get ganked on the way out, I've got
There's
this
a backup plan.
as a backup. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to have.
Yeah. I really thought that was cool. Austin.
I mean, as a guy who likes to play paladin with another fellow paladin over here, this would be amazing. I get to smite more. Is
Smite.
that I get to do another level 2 smite or
Quick
level
fuel.
1 smite or whatever. So
Smite.
I just get to like I could decide I'm gonna hurt this thing more right now, and then I can still, if I'm playing like vengeance or something, I can misty step away if I need to.
And see, you bring up a really valid point, and part of the reason why I like this is if you know these are the sorts of rewards you're going to get for role playing your character, do you feel like the players would be more inclined who don't normally take that approach, more inclined to, knowing that they might be able to get one of these potential rewards just for playing the character like there should be they I don't want to say
They should be
should.
playing.
Well, I don't want to say they should be because everyone plays differently, but you've given your character the flaws, the ideals and the bonds, and some people just don't do anything with them. If I knew that I could get an action surge or an arcane recovery in my back pocket, would I work a little harder to role play out those features?
I mean, probably, right? Because I mean, when there's
I think it's
a much more
motivator, no
tangible
question.
reward, I feel like that does inspire players to actually want to play the characters that, I mean, they made them. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I've always been kind of like, I have these like set of ideals and rules, and sometimes they make my heart hurt because sometimes I play a really awful character where I'm like, man, I gotta be a dick to this thing. I don't want to be a dick to this thing, but I have to be a dick to this thing.
When we went into Avernus, you really could not have picked a more douchebaggy character.
I really didn't want to hurt Lulu in my little heart, but I was like, man, I know that it's like the minute you said I need the blood of a celestial, I'm like, well, I'm a celestial, but no, I don't want to give myself up. But Lulu, on the other hand,
Asshole.
I
Ian,
didn't want to do it.
You
Well,
know, I
this is
think
going to keep people on track.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's going to keep people on track. I think a lot of instances, especially that I've seen, is people think, hey, we can be crazy or we could be off the rails, or and this is going to snap them back into, all right, we should just follow the rules and maybe keep up with what the DM's saying. Don't throw the thing off the rails. It's all about, as a dungeon master, it's all about coming up with ways to keep people on track without railroading them.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's all about that. And I don't even like the term railroad. I think that's a dirty word. I put the ability out there to make your decisions, but the thing still has to end from a point A to point B. It's just about how we get there is going to impact the magnitude of point B.
Right.
This is going to make sure
Right.
you get there in a good way, in a controlled way.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. We've all had players where they're like,
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
rewarding people for this is what my character would do.
right.
Essentially.
which I think is a phrase that just has become a dirty word, even though I don't really think it is. At least not to the extent a lot of people make it out to be.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Shoot, in a similar vein, one of the few episodes I actually wrote was metagaming. Like, guys, metagaming is not the dirty word that a lot of people make it out to be. Here's why.
Yeah, that was a very eye-opening experience for me because I've always been of the mind that metagaming is supposed to be bad, but I'm also in the I don't give a damn crowd. So if you feel the need to go open the monster manual, fine, you do it. But anybody that knows my monsters always are variants, so sure you're gonna know what it's about capable of, but when the cat turns and roars at you with the Sphinx's power, you're gonna be like, well, that was weird.
I don't
Right.
remember that.
Ian, did you have any final comments on the Arcane Recovery before we move on?
But I do not.
Okay. Craig, would you like to take the next one?
Okay. Swift action. You can expend an inspiration point on your turn to take the dash, dodge, disengage, or use object action for free.
What do you think about that?
It's the most common form of inspiration. This is the one that everybody kind of has already memorized. Something like that is to be able to move. So it's an essential one. It's one of the essential ones here.
Yeah, I love that. And I didn't know that. Like, I found when I was searching the internet for the different uses, this one came up a lot, and I was just like, shame on me for never thinking about that sooner. Because it makes sense. All those are utility abilities, so sometimes you just get in a situation when you're like, damn, I wish I could disengage from this, but if I disengage, it takes my action, which means I don't get to heal, I don't get to attack, I don't get to do this, I don't get to do that. And some people are willing to take the HP loss instead of doing a tactical retreat. Saving up an inspiration lets them kind of do that now without the forced staying, I guess. I don't know, but the forced confrontation. So, Ian?
This means. Go ahead, Ian.
Now, this is kind of a hindsight thing more than anything else. I think this is actually fun on its own because I like taking the dodge action, but once again, I usually feel like I can use my action for something else that may benefit people more. But if we're real here, giving all your enemies disadvantage to attack you is nice.
Yep.
It was
I've done that a
disengaging.
few times.
I do also think we could have, once again, in hindsight, I can see why we would keep them separate, though, for some games, but I think we could combine this with the Surging Strike one, just and have it act like the Action Surge. But, once again,
Yeah.
I can see why we might keep it separate to some
Fair.
degree, though.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, because this one doesn't really give you an attack or anything. It's just the utility
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's all utilities.
Awesome.
So for me, the first thing I thought of, because sometimes I like to play rogues, they're fun too, is I can now quadra move. I can move 4 times.
Little speedster.
I could sprint so far, and that makes my little heart happy. I'm not sure what use I could get out of that. I'm sure there's a few things, but like, I'd be like, let's see, if I'm 30 feet, so what, 120 feet in 6 seconds?
That's a lot.
That is very fast.
I used to play a monk named Daffy, and he his big stick and everything. And I took the mobile feat, and all he would do is go and hit stuff, and then run into another room so nobody could target him. With something like this, I would totally do that. Like run, hit him in the face, and then run into another room. Like I felt like such a coward, but I was like, he is a coward. That was kind of the suffering
part, yeah.
suffering succotash. I took a blow to the
I remember that
face.
character.
That was fun. Overall, I
I'm
really like
laughing
this one.
because the character's name was not Daffy originally. We just started calling him Daffy
Yeah.
because he kept annoying crap.
Yeah, bastards. It stuck though. That's how it works. I think. Doesn't matter what cool name you come up with. Everyone else decides what your name's gonna be half the time. All right, Austin.
Sure. Next one we got on here is Defensive Warding. You can expend an inspiration point to rally your allies' defenses. Hey, a non-selfish use of inspiration. When a creature that you can see makes an attack roll or an ability check, you can impose disadvantage on that roll. You must use this after the roll, but before you know the outcome. It's kind of like the luck feat, except for your friends.
Yeah, I think this was inspired by Cutting Words actually, because it sounds very similar, if not the
Or
same.
the
What is it, like the shield protection fighting style? I think is similar.
Oh, maybe.
yeah.
Except it's not 5 feet. It's hey, stop that.
Don't be a dick.
It's just throw a bread roll at his face or something. He's just like, oh, what the?
I'm picturing the heckler from Happy Gilmore.
You suck, you jackass. What do you think, Craig?
You know, it's. I think it's fun, and like especially when you're playing a tank, you know, to have this kind of ability at your disposal, it makes it a lot more interesting. Although, if I was gonna play that out, I would not want to be, you know, non-magic user and use that. Like that should be exclusively for magic users.
You think
or
so?
Something like that. Yeah, I think you know something like that. Definitely, I would see this as coming from a distance.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know, if I was a fighter, I wouldn't be like, it wouldn't make any sense.
I
I
can
can also just as easily like pick up a rock and I squared him in the head in it.
Yeah. And it's funny he mentions that, because what I was envisioning is that if you were playing a martial class, this would be more like a quick tactical command. Hey, look out!
see
He's
that.
coming in a horizontal slash or some BS like that, or
Just,
maybe
Hey, he's hitting
Fuck!
overhead.
you're duck.
Yeah, see, what gets me is the warding. You know,
Oh,
it's
because of the
defensive
name.
warding,
I
and
got
I'm
you.
like, oh, magical
gotcha.
warding. You know.
Yeah,
But
I didn't
if you're
even
doing it as a,
think about that.
Hey, knock it off, or like something like that. Like, eyes up, stay frosty.
Stay
He's coming on your six.
Ian. Oh God.
The fact that you can use this to help others, that's awesome way of saying, I think it's nice. Because, let's face it, inspiration's a very selfish game mechanic as is.
Well, did you know some people give inspiration to other people? I don't know that the rules naturally include that, but I think
Huh.
when I was reading, that was a lot of things people were doing. Is I might earn the inspiration, but I'm going to give it to that person, which I thought was pretty cool. Another thing that I saw is that players pass out inspiration, not the dungeon master. So when I think, you know, Ian did a good job, I think Austin did a good job. I'll say I want to give him an inspiration, and each player got one a night, and I just thought that was really cool.
I
And
pat them on the back.
Good
Good job.
that was really good. You're MVP today.
Damn, that was awesome. High five. You have inspiration now.
See, that was one of those things that would purely just be, I think, a meta thing, because I couldn't imagine how that would function, like in the world. I mean, I guess you go back to the hey, good job,
Yeah.
but nothing wrong with meta. Did you have anything else, Ian?
Nope.
Alrighty. The next one we have is called Death's Busy. You can expend an inspiration point to automatically stabilize when making a death saving throw. I thought this was awesome because there's always the risk of death, but if you roll and you're starting to get to that really close, like, no, I'm done, inspiration, I'm stabilized. This was simple and straight to the point, but I think enough characters die in 5e that this could be something that could be great, especially if the cleric is down, or you are the cleric and you're down, or you have no cleric or anybody that can stabilize you. Because let's be honest, how often does anybody that's not got a special power run and use their action to stabilize somebody? Yeah, I didn't think so. No.
Say, I have never stabilized, but I mean, I always give him 1 hit point somehow. I have ways around it, I guess.
Craig, what do you think
Usually
about
prepare
this?
for that stuff.
This is the equivalent of a player saying no.
No, you. I live today.
Hey, yeah, you're down. How about not? No, you're down.
You're bleeding out. No, I'm not. I rolled over a pile of shit and it patched it up.
This is the Dungeons and Dragons
Good
that
day.
was easy button.
Yeah, that was easy.
I hadn't really considered that. That's so funny. You could even toss in an extra point that if they roll a 20, no, you're not even rolling. You're expending inspiration.
Yeah,
You
you're
could say
inspiration.
you could say that I just, you could add it to like they gain 1 hit point if you really, really wanted to. But already it seems strong. Just saying F you.
Yeah.
You looked at death in the eye and said, "I'm gonna go the other way," and the
on
death
break.
is just like, what?"
Ian.
I like this just because stabilizing a character is really nice, and it takes the pressure off of the rest of the party. Keep you going.
Yeah, I get that. Is there any changes you guys would make to this? Or do you think it's pretty good as is?
Pretty straightforward.
I think it's
I think
solid.
it could be fun if you gave it, like, "Oh, you're back up with 1 HP. You get to fight 1 more round until that goblin over there snipes you real quick. But you got 1 more round before that happens."
I can see that. That would be. I think
But I
that
mean-
you could do that too. That was actually one
Yeah.
of the things that I had found was giving people just 1 hit point.
Yeah.
uh,
But I also think, like, I mean, stabilizing is good too. You're still not dying. You're
Yeah.
just,
You don't want to make this like overpowered because
Right.
already that's pretty
Right.
strong. But like, I would love to see something like Kylo Ren, Force Awakens, where he's pounding his chest to get more
Mhm.
fury. Yeah, like something like that. Can't take me down. Like, but there has to be a cost to that. So it would be like, yeah, you're
Right.
stabilized with 1 HP for 1 turn, but like now you have -2 chances to to save. Like you've got 1 saving throw, but like with 1 turn,
Oh no!
like, because you're a gambler on
Yes,
another
that's.
level.
I love that.
You're just a hero on a different world, man. This guy's going, and he's like, "How is he still standing?" He's like, "I have no idea. I saw this man just take a giant beam to the face. He's still standing." And then he's just like,
Yep.
he's like, "I got him, boss." And he just hits him once, and then he just falls over.
Like instead of calling this Death's Busy, you call it Headless Chicken.
Oh my
Let him run
god!
around. He's got
Headless
1 more turn.
Headless chicken. That's awesome.
That's like very similar to the what is it, the samurai feature,
Mhm.
where he gets like 1 last go right before he goes down. He's like, "Ha, you thought you could kill me," and he just immediately takes his turn and then he goes down.
Yeah, just like that.
I just love the fact that no matter what happens, his turn after it ends, he's right back to the floor.
I love
That's
it.
good. That's
Um,
good stuff.
Craig, would you like to tell us about our next one, our 9th one?
Yes. The next one, I know a guy. You can expend an inspiration point when you need a piece of information on an item, monster, location, or person. You know a guy or girl who will have further details regarding how to acquire the information you seek. This one could be hilariously fun. This is a role-playing one.
Oh,
This
for
is
sure.
100% a role-playing one. It works especially well if you're playing like a mobster character, like old school
Hey.
Chicago mafia.
Yeah.
That's my guy, Tony Two Toes in one of the games I play,
Yes.
who's a gnome.
Oh my gosh, that's
This
awesome.
is perfect. This is perfect. Yeah, 2 toes because he mailed some guy his fiance's 2 toes. So it was like some really terrible backstory that he made up.
That sounds
one
great.
day. Yeah. It's
I
like,
love it.
Really, but I know a
Two
guy.
toes.
You know, it's perfect.
That's
It's
really
perfect.
good.
I like this one because it's very similar to the feature you get from the criminal background, and I love that feature. I remember using that in one of our one-shots we did, where we had to get into a party, we couldn't bring any weapons. I'm like, wait, I know a guy. I happened to know a guy who was a tailor who, who crafted us clothing for nobility. Oh, the crap ton of concealed pockets of the entire thing for us to hide weapons.
That is some Mistborn level shit right there, man.
Awesome.
Hide a glass dagger in my cloak. Yeah, I really like this. We played. We were with. We went to an anime convention, and Gabe from Interparty Conflict was there, and he played a terrible RPG, which is called a terrible because you write down your powers and you tear them off, and then once you're gone, you're out. And one of the ones I got was I know a guy, and so I think we got to the end. And it turned out that we needed to get somewhere, and it was I need a guy, and a van just showed up out of nowhere. It was awesome. So this totally reminded me of that. It was kind of a mix of as Ian said, the criminal background and the sage background. It's kind of a mesh of both of them, since there's no
Yeah.
limitation on the two like they are. But I really love this
Right.
as a role play thing. At the very least, this will probably be in my games moving forward, because this is probably hands down my favorite one that I had found.
Anything that just enhances the ability to have good roleplay, I'm always all for. Because I know for a lot of people, like, it's hard to like roleplay. Like they either just don't feel comfortable with their character because their character's not them, so like acting out their character can be really hard. For
Mhm.
instance, I didn't want to be a dick to everything, but man, sometimes I just had to be, and I felt bad. But
Yeah.
Oh, those are fun though.
oh, I mean, I kicked a goblin through a portal because I was like, "Hey, tell me what's behind there, or you die." He's like, "I don't know what's behind there." So I was like, "Well, I guess I'll find out." And so I kicked him through, and then he came back as a pool of blood, and I was like, "So we're not going through that portal, we're going this way." Because they were like, "How do we find out if we want to go through there?" I was like, "Give me 1 second, I will figure it out."
Modern problems require modern solutions.
That's awesome.
Uh,
Oh, we got some good talk out of that one. That one's a really exciting one, but that's not our
I do like that one a
our
lot.
last one. Ian took away one of my options to fit this bad boy, so I hope it's as awesome as he thinks it is. Why don't you tell us what you got here, Ian?
Okay. To be fair, I did pull this one from other RPGs that have similar mechanics.
That's okay.
This one is called. Oh wait, we planned for this. You edit the scene by mentioning a way how your character off screen plan ahead and set things up for this exact situation.
Yes.
And one of the examples I thought, going off of the part we mentioned earlier, is let's say you had to go to a location which you couldn't bring in any weapons, which limits your offensive ability. And then as you go into the hallway, you're like, but wait, I planned for this because last night I was in the bar and I saw this guy complaining about the master of this house, this manor, and I started chatting with him, telling he was the janitor who's treated like crap. So I said, hey, if you want me to get back to your boss, I sent him a few gold, and I said, just put this package in the pot in the hallway. Trust me. And then you snap back to the present. You just said pot. You pull a wand of fireballs that you always kept on you.
I love it. That's great. Craig, what do you think?
This is a campy one, and I just think back to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, how did this happen? We're smarter than this. Apparently not.
I love it.
That's good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think this would definitely be abused if given to the wrong part or the right party.
Or the right party.
Or the right party.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think this definitely has to have some form of limitation to it.
Like an
because
inspiration
obviously-
point?
Well, here's the thing: plot points exist, and
Yes.
they can do something extremely similar to this.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I guess your DM could just be like, yeah, it's like a plot point. Here you go, fucking run with it.
That's true.
What shit are you gonna come up with? And he's like, yeah, dragon comes through the fucking ceiling in this noble party that we were doing, and it torches the whole thing. It's like, all right, I guess that's what happened, guys.
Yeah,
But
when he suggested this, I was like, oh, I really like this because it's very similar to the plot point. I do feel like it's not quite as powerful the plot point because the plot point
Yeah.
in the DMG basically makes you the DM for that scene, and anything you
Mhm.
say kind of goes. This, I feel like if we added a few more words to it, you could easily add within reason or something like that. Like
Yeah.
like
I mean, it
Ian's
already
example is
says-
really good of that.
right, like it already says like it has to be specifically your character, and it's you have to be able to set this thing up. So
Yeah.
there already is this sort of like reasonable kind of aspect attached to it. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like what I just said, which is a dragon coming through the ceiling of a party and
Like,
torching
yeah,
everything.
last night I went and climbed a mountain and I met a dragon and
no.
I bribed him to come break down the door when we get locked inside the building. So
Yeah,
I
it's
do,
like, I don't know about that.
while I do think that if it is allowed to be as powerful as a plot point, it definitely, I can see it being abused for the better or for worse. But as it
better or
is
worse.
now, I think the intent is something within reason. Just adding something like that,
Yeah.
I think, can make it a very powerful tool. You get locked in a prison cell. Well, actually, the other day, I was concerned. Yesterday, I was really concerned about this, so I shoved a key up my the backside, just in case such a situation happened, because I knew the risks. Well, you knew you were going to be breaking into a noble's house and the possibility of getting caught, so you know what? That is reasonable. How are you going to get it out? Where's the chamber pot? So, I would say, go
And I
ahead.
think it helps players think, if you will, and be
Yeah.
creative. So
That was one of the reasons why I really liked it, because if you can come up with an elaborate scheme off screen, that happened, let's hear it. That adds to the story and roleplay. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's our last one.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
all 10.
So I have to ask, first of all, what did you guys think of these? Do you think these are good alternative ways to use inspiration?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I do think they had a decent list of options to your game. And that's a plus in my book.
For sure.
So the real question is, Craig, is there something you think that should be in here that's not?
Okay, I'm super glad you threw this question at me because all right, so at the beginning of the show, I was talking about how I used an element. We had a small person pulls a steel beam, a bench, right? That element is from the Star Wars RPG. Now, I don't, the Fantasy Flight game, Star Wars RPG. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
I'm not.
The
Vaguely.
light side and
On my
dark
shelf.
side destiny point. They
Ooh.
have it's so destiny points and then inspiration, very similar mechanics. But whereas on the Star Wars, it's at the beginning of every session, everybody rolls a dice, and you'll either roll a light side point or a dark side point, and then all of the players get to collectively spend the light side points for immediate nat 20s. That's the equivalent.
Ooh, that's cool.
But then if you spend your light side point for your nat 20, it flips over and becomes a dark side point, and the DM can now use a dark side point.
It's very cool.
That sounds
And
awesome.
it's like this, and there's only as many as the amount of players at the table, but if everybody rolls dark side points, it's going to be a long game.
Yeah.
But if they roll light side points, everyone's going to have so much fun because they're going to be able to do crazy, maybe not even crazy and wacky things, just fun things like, oh man, we need to get through this tense situation, and then they do because the force was on their side. It's fun stuff like that. I love
that. That's very cool. That is, I'm gonna have to check that out. It's funny you mentioned Star
yeah,
Wars
it
so
is
much because
very cool.
our next week episode is a fan made 5th edition 5e Star Wars thing. So
I have seen many of those. I have not read any of them though.
yeah,
But I've seen that there's a few.
yeah. This is the only one that I
I'll be
thought was
excited
good
to know
enough
that.
worth covering. So take that how you will.
feel.
I thought this one was good, but there is, let's just say it's just like anything in the world. There's a whole lot of crap, but there is some good. You just gotta filter through it.
Yeah.
But I think these guys did really good work. So, did you, Ian, Austin, did you guys have anything or?
No, honestly, I think these were all. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, so I
Well,
think these are a good 10.
I would like to give an honorable mention. Using an inspiration point to change the element of a spell. This was one I saw that I really, really liked. And for whatever reason, I ended up getting chopped out of the block. But using an inspiration point to change a fireball to a snowball just sounds awesome. And let's be
Or a
honest,
Thunderbolt.
right.
Thunderball.
Well, Thunderball, I like that one. I thought you said vulnerable. That's the
scary.
first thing that came to mind. Because it allows the characters to do a couple different things. First of all, they can use it to target weaknesses and gain some advantages. And more importantly, it can allow them to reimagine spells that they've used 100 times in new ways. So,
Right.
but that was
It
just
might make some archetypes a little bit more viable too, especially some that have ties to specific elements, like
Right.
the Storm Sorcerer, for example.
oh, nice, yeah.
Who
I
gets
didn't even think about
bonuses for using lightning-based spells, but there's almost no lightning spells in the game.
that. Yeah, right.
Makes me wonder,
that's
because
sad.
that would. I could see that being a cool way to use inspiration, just for the idea that, like, a paladin smite. I mean, it is radiant damage. Now it's
It's necromantic.
necrotic damage.
Yeah.
I am evil paladin, necrotic smite.
Yeah. So yeah,
I why it's not there.
I think that'll do it for our main topic today. I really enjoyed this list. Hopefully, you guys will too. Before we move on to our Unearthed tips and tricks, I'd like to take a moment to say that we have 3 brand new products out. We have just released our Werecat playable race, which is flying off the shelves. Oh my god, it is! I didn't expect that to be the one that everyone loved, but apparently it's just been going crazy. So thank you to everyone that's picked up our Werecat playable race. There's the Cleric Warmind, if you like a little psionic energy with your Cleric Divine flavor, and then of course, my fighter Skybreaker. Who doesn't like touching somebody and making them fall the wrong direction? That's just fun. Hey, how you doing, Pat? A lot of fun there. It does get access to flight and stuff like that. If you're into checking that out, you can head over to critacademy.com and pick those up. Less than a cup of
Sounds
coffee.
kinda fun.
So, oh yeah, it's fun.
I haven't seen this PDF. Why haven't I?
All right, so we're going to go ahead and hopefully you'll check those out. You can head over to critacademy.com and find them and enjoy those. All right, let's move into our awesome...
And Justin, I did pass you a couple messages on Facebook and here in Discord before we move too far along, so...
when I try to click Discord, I think it kicks me out of the room. So if I click that, we'll see what happens.
Then. Do Facebook then.
Is it important?
Godspeed.
Godspeed. My whole computer's gonna crash and blow up now. Watch, that's what's gonna happen because that's how it works. Yeah. So I do have one quick question while this is loading up. What the hell name? Oh, okay. All right. So that'll do it for our main topic. Let's go ahead and put on this UTT video. It's your favorite. It's my favorite. It's everyone's favorite segment. Our Unearthed tips and tricks.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
All right, we're back. Oh man, that's so good. Good call, Ian, for that one. To start off, we always start with our character concept. As always, we always ask our guests to bring us something flavorful, something awesome, exciting. And if you were listening to me earlier, I was bragging about how much I think Craig does a phenomenal job with character concepts. So please don't let me down. What do you got for us?
This is the generic fighter 1.
Yes, my favorite.
No, I have this one's a fun one. I've been kind of playing with this one, and I think I just figured out how it would work strategically. Okay, so this one's called Duel of the Minds. Okay, and the concept here is that it's a 2-player character. It's one character played by 2 people, which has been seen in a lot of video games, that there's this concept of 2 people in one. And so the way that this would work is you would multi-class a blood hunter, witch hunter,
That's
and
nice.
the spirit of a wizard in one character. So it's 2 different characters in one person, and they're both going to be conflicting because one of them is, of course, a wizard, and the other one's, of course, the witch hunter. And it's really a matter of playing it out to see how they eventually have to work together.
I love that.
And you'll be able
Nice.
to find this character sheet. I will be posting it on Knight's Board tonight after this call, so you'll be able to get it there. GameMasterCraig.com. You can get this character sheet and story too.
I'll make sure to grab that and then add it to the show notes. I really like this. So we actually covered what was the name of that? We covered a product that had a two-headed.
right?
There was a two-headed
Cho'Gall, right?
ogre. Yeah, ogre.
Yeah, Warcraft.
The Etten package.
The Etten package was the name. Yeah, it's like Cho'Gall, right?
Yes.
And
yeah.
it
It is like
basically has rules, and they were really, really well thought out and built for people playing each half of this creature. Like, one has
It was
access to
pretty
the left hand, and like the smart brain. The other one had the right hand that was stronger, but had the dumb brain. And there's a really good rule. So it kind of reminds me of that. I like that you put 2 things that are head to head. I don't know if that. I mean, that must have been intentional. That sounds like it was intentional because it can lead them to wanting to go down 2 different paths in solving a problem. And the fact that the witch hunter aspect would probably constantly be threatening the wizard half with their stupid mumbo jumbo.
Oh yeah.
Writing insults inside their spell book. That would be so much fun. Like I would like describe my character scribbling out spells and changing the words, and then you get some like random like so every time they rolled poorly and missed, it would because there was chicken scratch over this part in the spell book and he messed up. Oh my gosh, I love this the more I think about it. Do
You see, it's fun stuff like that, and it's like I love throwing out little ideas and then letting people run with them. And like, you know, I didn't tell you, are they both chaotic evil? Is one good? Is one bad?
I hadn't even
Because
considered.
play that out. How, you know, what if the witch hunter does not have to be good or bad. Like, he could be a chaotic good because he thinks he's doing the right thing.
Right.
And then to find out, like, oh my gosh, like maybe magic users are people too. Like, there's a lot of elements you could explore there.
I like that.
A lot of places.
And I think the what could be really cool, and I would if I had 2 players and they wanted to go with this, I feel like this would be a good way to introduce. Is it Gestalt playing? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Where you can level 2
Yeah,
classes at the
Gestalting.
same time within one character. And so I love the idea of the 2 players at the table arguing about where they should go to get tactical advantage. Like, no, I need to get distance so I can blow him up with fireball. No, idiot, let me stab him with my sword. So I definitely think that would be fun. And then you could even add it to where they just roll a dice mechanically after they argue to determine who gets to actually choose. So I'm honestly, it makes me really want to do this now. So I knew you wouldn't let me down. Duel of the Minds. Duel of the Minds. That's awesome.
I also think that you could also swing this one to be, I think, for kids. I think this would be really fun with kids and people that are new to the game. Because if you're a DM and you're running it, that it's everybody's kind of new. This is going to be the best way to focus on role play first. You know, this isn't one we're really focusing on big time mechanics.
Right.
This is a role play one.
For
so
sure.
to get that chance to play that out is going to be, this is a story one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually make some really good points there because it would foster that conversation at the table more so than a traditional game might, because you're both gonna undoubtedly argue over which way to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Wonderful. That'll do it for our character concept, Duel of the Minds from Game Master Craig. Thank you so much for that. It was really good. Today we're going to talk about our monster variant, the Humpback Breaker. These unique large humanoid sea dwellers are akin to massive humpback whales from which their name originates. These brutish creatures don't often use weapons, instead settling issues with their fists and tossing the nearest object at their enemy. So I got a really nice art piece for this, and I can't wait to put it together for my patrons, but it had me cracking up, and so I'm like, I gotta write something about this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the White Dragon stat block. You're gonna remove its flight, its blind sight, its ice walk, its bite, its claw, its cold breath. That's a lot to get rid of, but don't worry. I promise we're going to give some cool shit in place of it. So we're going to give it a new feature called Amphibious, which lets it breathe air or water. Even though I know technically whales don't do that, it's a fantasy game. Just go with it, okay? We're going to give it Slam, which is going to be its melee brute force ability. It's going to have a +7 to hit. It's going to do 2d6 +4 damage. What's going to separate it from the White Dragon, however, is the fact that the target must succeed a DC 15 strength saving throw or be pushed back or knocked prone, pushed back 10 feet or knocked prone, obviously the attacker's choice. That really gets the feeling of the brute, pushing and then sending your character flying, which I think is really fun, especially if you're fighting them on the coast where there's lots of rocky terrain. Drop them off an edge of a cliff or something, maybe. And then, of course, the other feature I wanted to give it, another feature I want to give it is Improvised Missile. I envision something that's big and brutish, kind of like the Hulk, just picking up whatever it can find and throwing. So instead of giving it the rock power, I gave it Improvised Missile, which basically lets him pick up any object that he can lift and just chuck it at somebody with a +7 to hit, 60 to 120 feet. Great stuff. 4d10 +6 damage. You do not get multi-attack on this like you do with the Slam, so it is a little more, it is a little bit stronger. Once again, you get the DC 15 strength saving throw, or be pushed 10 feet or knocked prone. So now you got two abilities. It's all about knocking and pushing. As a DM, totally gonna make sure you're fighting him on a cliff some side somewhere so that he can knock your ass off the side. You better have Featherfall. And then, of course, I couldn't add a water character without thinking of Pokemon, so now we have Hydroblast, which is recharges on a 5 or 6. And it's a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the range must succeed a DC 15 con saving throw or take 10d8 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, have as much on a successful one. Love this guy. I totally need more water creatures in my diet, so I thought that this would be a really, really fun one. Craig, what do you think?
Oh, this is so much fun, to do like anything that adds oceanic creatures to your game is going to be a lot more fun,
Yep.
Because I feel like, especially with the base book, it's like, you got the equivalent of Murlocs, and then it just jumps straight to Kraken. Yeah, it goes like something small, something that is not much for threat, and then the next thing is Kraken Leviathan. I'm like, well, there's no
in between.
No in between there.
It's all or nothing in the water.
Like you skip the evolution there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the cool benefits of this, because
That makes me think of when we did the Kanto Pokedex about how we poked fun at the fact that you have the Magikarp, which is like a challenge rating 1/8 creature, and then evolved to a Gyarados, which became CR20. You're like, wait a second.
from 0 to 60. So what kind of features do you think could be added to combat to really get the most out of this? I mean, obviously, the first thing that came to mind to me was like high cliffs or something. What do you guys think would really... How would you get the most out of this character's pushback and knocking prone powers?
Buildings. I want buildings around this thing. I want to throw people into walls. And I want to make them take like pseudo fall damage as they hit the wall or something. I want destruction. I want mayhem.
I wanted to give him siege
I would hate
monster
to...
feature. Go ahead.
I would hate to gravel this thing underwater, just saying.
Oh, yeah,
Probably
you're
wouldn't
boned.
work, yeah.
You ain't going nowhere. He's going to drown your
Actually,
ass.
does he have a speed?
Does he what?
Can we put a swim speed in here? Or is that with the amphibious?
No, I actually think... I didn't add it here. I wonder... The dragon might already have it. If not, give him a swim speed. I would recommend double its movement speed.
Yep, the dragon has a 3-foot swim speed, so we're good. We're good.
So I didn't have to add it. Yeah, so that's kind of some of the stuff that I would do. I really like this concept. Can't wait to finish writing out the lore and stuff for my patrons. So that'll do it for our...
Oh my gosh, it burrows.
I didn't get rid of burrow because I wanted it to burrow tunnels underneath the water. I'm going to drown a hero tonight. That'll do it for our monster variant, the Humpback Breaker. Austin, would you like to tell us about our encounter concept? Oh my god, I love this. I could not stop laughing while I was trying to do a TikTok about it.
So, we have an encounter. It's called the Quarrels with Squirrels. The support beams in a local merchant's shop are being gnawed on by squirrels. It happens almost every year. The proprietor and merchant, Egon Rain, some commoner, has put out a call for someone to deal with the furry pests before his entire shop collapses in on itself. Egan doesn't offer a
Again.
traditional reward, instead he offers a permanent shop discount of 10% off his wares. Now, if the character has a guild artisan background, perhaps it's doubled to 20%. Because yay, free better stuff.
Nice.
A character who succeeds on a DC 13 intelligence nature check, or is proficient in woodcarver or carpenter tools, identifies the beams as being made of cedar. A favorite of silver squirrels, use the swarm person to stakes stat block, a pack creature. This encounter can be solved, thankfully, in a few methods. The characters can simply slay the beasts and be done with them, if you're maybe
Monsters.
inclined to do so. Or if they use the spell Speak with Animals or similar magic, they can learn that the squirrels are preparing for a female to give birth. The cedar is the best wood to build their shelter out of. With a successful DC 14 Intelligence Nature or Wisdom Survival check, the characters are able to locate a collection of cedar trees a few days' travel away, should they decide to help the little critters. They may also choose to help the squirrels relocate their nests to the location of the new cedar trees, giving them all that they need.
I have
And then you
to.
still get the reward from the shopkeeper because he's realizing that they're not there anymore.
Right. What do you think, Craig? I see a big smile on your face.
Are you guys familiar with the South Park Woodland critters?
I am not, but I would love to hear about it.
Oh my gosh, this pretty much describes it. But they're, the female about to give birth was, of course, because South Park, it was the Antichrist. So, so you're reading this and I'm thinking, well, this is awfully familiar. It doesn't end well for the adventurers.
I had no idea.
That is some twist you could have in there.
Right.
Wow.
No, this was
That's funny.
this was a Final Fantasy 14 quest at one point, I think, that I never forgot. I remember going and trying to save kill squirrels. I'm like, why am I killing squirrels? So I rewrote it so that you didn't have to kill the fuzzy little critters.
Oh, God.
But I like this for a couple different reasons. First of all, permanent discounts on wares is good. The fact that it feeds off the couple different background and artisan tools that can finally kind of get some sort of engagement in the game is always nice. The other thing is not everything has to be about stabbing stuff. Then this gives you alternative options to that. We either relocate them or bring them what they need. And you really will learn a lot about your players depending on what type of action they take on these poor little squirrels. And if not, they're going to get the hell of a surprise when they find out those things bite and are rabid with poison attacks, you know? I think that's a CR2 for that swarm, so I plan this around level 2 or so, but overall, it's a lot of fun. Now I'm immediately going to Google the whole South Park thing because that has me cracking up.
It's disturbing.
Aside from that, what is everyone? Is this an adventure you think it would be a lot of fun, or is there changes you would make? How would you kind of get the most out of it? Would you enhance it?
It's a great one to get a gauge on how chaotic your players are.
That's a really nice way to say a-holes.
I mean, but it's creating situations like this, especially when you have those like murdered hobos who are just gonna kill everything, because you know those types of people who would take out the squirrels and the shopkeeper and raid the whole town. You know, it just chaotic all around. But like something like this, I foresee the druid if there's a druid on the team, is going to want to have an army of squirrels permanently attached to their character. That's what's going to happen.
They're going to befriend him and help give birth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to call him Timmy Two Toes. He's missing some toes.
Yeah, I see an army of pet squirrels.
My brain went the opposite direction of like I could easily picture something like Adventures going, oh, he's gonna deal with some cute little squirrels. Oh, I'm not too worried about that. This will be easy. Each squirrel is gonna be like the rabbit from Monty Python, the Holy Grail. Personality wise,
that would be awesome. They're all murderous. Oh yeah, little murderous terrors. That would be funny.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, I think that'll do it for our encounter. Quarrels with squirrels. They don't fuck around.
That's CR2. They will get rid of the normal person.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Ian, would you like to tell us about our magic item today?
Today, our magic item is the Smoldering Chain Shirt of Etherealness. created by our magic item generator, courtesy of Print Academy. Oh look, that's us.
That's me.
It is a chain shirt. It is a legendary item that requires attunement. While wearing this equipment, wisps of harmless earth smoke rises from you. That just creates a pretty epic mental image on the right character, not gonna lie. Additionally, while you're wearing this equipment, you can speak a command word as an action to gain the effect of the Etherealness spell, which lasts for 10 minutes, or until you remove the equipment, or use an action to speak the command word again. And this resets next dawn. The ability, that is.
Can I just say, when I rolled this, because, you know, the generator, it's random, right? And so I've got everything broken down from common level to a couple legendaries. There's only like 10 legendary powers, and this came up with a 0 level one, which is common, and a legendary one. I was like, that's dope. Like, I mean, it's just simple. The wisp of harmless smoke is just one of the like common magic item features, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it turned out pretty cool. I feel like that really fit the etherealness kind of feel. What do you guys think about this?
And for those of you who don't know, the Ethereal spell allows you to teleport onto the ethereal plane, which allows you to see what's going on in the real world, but be away from it. They can't interact with you. You can't interact with them, but you can walk through objects that aren't in the ethereal plane. So
It's pretty potent, which is why it's legendary, because that's a 7th level spell, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
So
I'm like picturing a group of like mobsters doing their plan, and they're hitting location only for a paladin to pop out of nowhere.
let the smiting begin. Oh, what do you think, Craig?
This is going to be good with your probably your person who's sneaky.
Yes.
Yep.
But I'm sure that they're going to use it for nefarious means.
I most certainly would use this for nefarious means.
Yeah.
You say the sneaky person, but there's smoke billowing from this thing. They're stealthing around, and just smoke is just filling the rooms.
I didn't say they were good at what they do.
It turns out that the only way he's been trying to become a rogue forever, and he's always failed miserably. And the only time he can be successful is to get this powerful magic armor. Austin, did you have any comments on this?
Etherealness is so good.
It is.
So it's just like, oh man, I could just be like, hey, there's a giant laser beam coming my way. Not anymore.
That is like, so you would think of the most selfish way to save yourself F everyone else, right? Like, oh, hey, there's a nuke going off. Well, you guys are screwed.
I don't know how you guys are gonna get out of it, but I know how I'm gonna get out of it.
I'm going to go take a nap. Snap.
Let me just take a 10-minute rest here real quick in the other plane of existence.
That's how you get your short rest in.
Yeah.
Evil guy casting disintegrate, and you react to by using this armor to teleport away at the last second, so everybody thinks you're dead.
It's like, oh my god, he really did it. He's dead. And it's like 10 minutes later, like, oh man, where'd everybody go?
That's how my wizard can get out of debt. Just everyone thinks he's dead.
Fireballing yourself.
Right? Oops, boom. Oh, that's terrible. There's nothing left. No ash or nothing. So this comes from our magic item generator, where we take affixes and suffixes. You roll on a D100 table, and you get a multitude of different items. I have it broken down between common, rare, uncommon, all that stuff. So there will literally be thousands of possible combinations. So that'll be going to an editor soon, early this week. So hopefully I'll have a launch date for that. Hopefully this is something you guys will be interested in. I know I sure as hell had a lot of fun writing it. So, all right, that'll do it for our magic item, the Smoldering Chain Shirt of Etherealness. I love the names too. That's the best part about the affixes. It just makes dope ass names just by rolling on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, that'll do it for our magic item. Craig, would you like to tell about our Dungeon Master tip today?
Dungeon Master tip. Make new features a character roleplay moment. When a player character acquires a new significant feature, make note of that feature. Then try to include a bit of character development and flavor when they use it for the first time. For example, when a sorcerer picks up her twin's metamagic feature, this is a significant change to the character. Take a moment to narratively describe the look of surprise on the characters' and enemies' faces. a brief smirk appears on the sorcerer's face as she has been practicing off-screen for this very moment. Not only does this add to the combat narrative, but also allows you to shine the light on the player's character choices. This one's a lot of fun, and I would go as far as like even when you multi-class or you know when there's big character defining moments, you know, allow this to happen. Too often I've seen where it's just, you know, in between sessions, you know, 7 and 8, you know, player will come in and say, oh, here's my new character sheet, I multi-classed in the level up, and I'm like, no you didn't. We're going to play that out as part of the story, so hold this character off to the side for a second because we have to make some changes.
Okay.
And in one case I did this, and we did role play out a multi-class where the character was a warlock and ended up multi-classing into a cleric, and little did she know she had just become a cleric under the BBEG.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It was great. It was great.
That is cool. I love that.
But you have the opportunity here to do stuff like that, and I wish more DMs would recognize that.
Yeah, I agree. This is something that I think is even I'm guilty of this. Not shining a light on some of these big moments, these big things. It's simple. Even something as simple as the fighter getting extra attack, describing that he takes on an unusual stance you haven't seen, blade drawn back, and unleashes a flurry of strikes unlike anything he has ever done before. Something as simple as that takes it to the next level and makes it flow narratively, and it shows the progress of the character and their not just their personality traits, but of the work that they're doing to gain strength over time. What do you guys think?
The last time I recall doing something like this was with our Avernus campaign with my steampunk cowboy, aka Artificer Merle Bronson. When we leveled up, we got a new features, we got new spells, and obviously we don't necessarily communicate what we get, because players don't always do that, because you just don't think about it, or spells. And we get into a fight, and I remember saying, right after we leveled up, alright, a bullet may have your name on it. The fireball is addressed to whom it may concern.
And that's when you use
that was the
fireball?
first time I cast fireball with that character.
I do remember that. And that was good on you, because that's not something that I would have narrated specially beyond. And I'll be honest, I'm not gonna hide the fact that when I got these notes and stuff, I'm learning this stuff for the first time sometimes too. Like that's what actually started all this, is what can I do better? And turns out people have already thought of better ways to do stuff. So I just kind of fit that right into the show. We all get better together. So I am personally gonna try to do better with this moving forward. But that's also a lot of extra work I got to do. And anybody that listens to the show knows I'm also lazy as hell. So we'll see how that goes. As I say, not as I do, maybe.
Yeah, right.
What do you think, Austin?
I also recall for character role-playing moments when I was playing, when you were a player, when Brandon was DMing in...
I was a player.
That's
so rare.
Time. When we were doing the Dragon Heist. And we both got ability score improvements. So what did we do? We worked out together in the soup kitchen. So the guys came in and they just see us just like
gallons of milk.
Just getting like soup pots, and they're just fucking full, and we're just like arm barring them and stuff. And everyone's coming in there like, "What's happening?" And we're both just shirtless, glistening with sweat, super toned.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want?
I had a long ways to go. I wish I could do things my character could do.
It was fun. And we just rolled off that too. It was a good time. Yeah.
Overall, this is a pretty great tip. If you're paying close enough attention to your players, please consider doing this. You don't have to do it every time, but when it's those big defining moments, it's worth just a few extra moments of your time during the game to include them. I think Craig really set it up really good, and that you need those are good character defining moments. Don't miss out on them. All right. That'll do it for our Dungeon Master tip. Make new features a character RP moment. Our player tip of the podcast is don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid Dickitude by mastering your arcane teachings. So today we have a half-remembered dream. Sometimes combat isn't necessary to get information the characters need, or maybe they're just trying to warn somebody of an impending assassination, whatever it is. Sometimes it can be hard to get, to find the people you need or whatever, and get the information that they seek. Either way, some NPCs can be stubborn and difficult to manipulate with just words. Most bards would probably disagree with that, but it does happen sometimes. Lucky for us, there are ways you can alter their behavior and get them to aid you, even if they don't want to, at least not directly. So if you don't know, the Dream Spell, super cool, basically allows the characters to communicate in a very unique way. Why the player or NPC or character is taking a nap, right? Whether it's a quick power cat nap or if it's through the night. The best part of this is the distance is irrelevant, as long as you're on the same plane, which is huge. And additionally, additionally, all you need to know is to know the person. Well, let's be honest. The person has to be known to you, but that's very loosely described in the mechanic. So is spending 5 minutes observing the king give a speech enough of known to you? I think so. What about a few minutes watching a random merchant on the corner on the street selling some stuff? Is that enough? They're known to you. So that leaves it open for us to manipulate some stuff now, right? And you could take it a step farther with the scry spell. Combining it with the scry spell, you can see people you've never actually seen, as long as they're someplace or someplace that you've been, or somebody around them I think or you have some sort of lock of hair or some others. You can really get a lot of goodness out of this. But what makes it really interesting is you sneak into their dreams, you slowly spread a message. Let's talk about assassination. That's probably the most common one, right? Players aren't always so important that they can just walk up to a noble king and say, hey, you're going to be assassinated. That's probably not going to end well for them. Let's be honest. That's probably you can attempt to warn, and some of them are a little more stubborn. But what you could do is you could slip in with the dream spell, kind of give them a little bit of tips. They're being chased down a hall. A person with a big axe chasing them in the shadowy figure, maybe very indistinct. And maybe a specific noise that goes with that. Maybe it's the sound of grating, an axe grating on a wall, or maybe it's the sound of footsteps running and chasing them. Whatever it is, something that will stand out to that character. If they're not going to listen to you, you can then get near enough to them to use the thaumaturgy spell to create the same sound and reinforce that memory, that incident or whatever it is that you're trying to communicate, so that it's a constant reminder. I can see the DM maybe even offering advantage for a persuasion check or something based on this. You can really use it as this combination of spells to coerce or instill new ideas to people that might be out of the character's reach normally. I'm sorry, I know that seems like a lot, but there was a lot of explanation that had to go into that one. So what do you guys kind of think about this idea?
I'm getting some Inception vibes here.
Some Inception, yes. Well, that was the other thing I wanted to see if somebody came up with it. What do you think, Craig?
I think it adds a whole new layer of role-play mechanics where you get the option to play that out however you want. As you said, you can't get too close to the king. Maybe you can. Most of the time you can't. Yeah. And this would be a really good way to play that off, especially if the king is not open to negotiation early on.
Right.
This one's a role-play one for me, so I love that.
Yeah.
You can play that off so many different ways.
The other thing that I thought about, and I didn't end up writing here, Ian mentioned Inception. You can just as easily use this to gather information too, right? If the person is afraid of something, you put in a dream that frightens them, right? And you constantly torture them throughout the weeks with these noises, that reminders, so that moment you go in and you then request certain information or torture them in the dream. I do mention it can get kind of dark depending on the players, but you can pull information from them by constantly injecting a level of paranoia. If they start hearing the sounds they're hearing in their dreams, you better answer me or I'll slit your throat, blah, blah, blah. And they hear that same kind of, once again, the sharpening of a knife, maybe.
really Freddy Krueger this one.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was looking for. You can really turn it up, and because it's happening not just in their dreams, but the effects are happening during the game, it really becomes something frightening, I think. That's how I envision this working, and it's all within the bounds of those two spells, and one's just a cantrip. So, God, that'd be horrible. Giving this to an arcane trickster, if you can multi-class or take a feature to get this and like masquerade as like one of the people in the room and just constantly have these noises going, oh my God, that's terrifying. So I'm sorry to any dungeon masters who now have to deal with that. But that's what our player tips are for. Making you suffer so that they can outshine you. Because
there is
are the center. They are
a lot to this.
Yeah, it is.
The dream spell is very, like, I'm looking at it, and it's just
long.
3 paragraphs of text, and it's just there. Because I'm like, is that really? You can just kind of do all this? Because I wanted to make sure. And it's like, yeah, you really kind of can. It is a very loosely written spell.
It is.
That very reason. It's like you can do quite a bit with this.
Freddy Krueger, as Craig said. So.
Most definitely.
And then they don't even and if you do end up doing that, like there's added benefits to that too. They don't gain the benefits of that rest, so they're probably cranky or whatever.
Their
and
eyes gonna be like this, and
damage.
Can I have all these like bulging eyes and stuff, and they're up all night shaking?
Oh yeah, they take 3d6 psychic damage, so hopefully that doesn't kill them.
No.
If it's like some commoner who just wakes up from that. And,
does it say they have to? I don't remember.
If they wake up from nightmare.
Yeah.
So let's see.
So if you're
it's a save though. It's a save.
Yeah. If you're scaring the hell out of them, then yes, that definitely. But I think it's only if they wake up from a nightmare. So if you don't give them a nightmare, it doesn't impose it.
You say Freddy Krueger, but I always it's all about Scary Terry from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
It was a Freddy Krueger ripoff that you make fun of.
Right.
It says that only if you choose to make the messenger like monstrous and terrifying to the target. So I mean, you do kind of have some play into that. Yeah.
If
it's
you're
all
torturing them, that's going to be real bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're boned. All right. So, the king died in his sleep. Yeah, he kept telling me about these terrors. Somebody was gonna assassinate him. I was just trying to warn him. Oh my God! If it was an accident, that would be horrible. All right, I think that'll do it for our player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick.
Be a dick.
I feel like Ian's not even trying anymore.
It ever works.
A half-remembered dream. All right, so before we close out today, we have another gift to give away. Compliments of our sponsor, Realm Warp Media.
Yep. Our next giveaway are our RPG Fat Loots. Cities of Myth, Fallen Camelot by Realm Warp Media. A new 5e setting that takes place in Camelot after Arthur's death. Update for inclusion and introducing new mechanics like exploration.
Yes.
Doesn't really happen much most games.
Yes. Dude.
Oh yeah, like another.
Dude, they nailed it. If you're looking for solid exploration rules, this book has it. In fact, I'm glad I got one because I will be implementing those in my adventures going forward. So I was really impressed with that. This is the best part about my job is I get to see so many fantastic ideas of things I just don't think of. So thank you very much, Realm Warp Media. Who is our winner today?
Our winner today is Gemma One Holiday.
Woo!
Go Gemma!
Yeah!
The win? Not a problem. Head on over to Crit Academy and subscribe for your chance to win, and check out our free stuff section so you can get even more Fat Loots.
Nice. Yes, we have some good free stuff. Actually, the magic item generator, the very rough draft when I first started, and the potion are both free. The potion generator is by far my favorite so far, because potions should always do more than just give you a few hit points. So mine, they make you stronger temporarily. They give you, warded shields and shit. It's awesome. Before we close out, first of all, I want to say thank you to Game Master Craig for joining us today. We hope you've had fun. I know we have.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This has been a blast. I love this stuff.
Before we close out, would you give yourself one more plug? Tell everyone who you are, where they can find you, all that jazz.
Yeah, guys, I'm Game Master Craig. I do Dungeons and Dragons, Comic-Con, nerd news, and most recently, really bad movies. On TikTok, you could find me there. But you could also find me on nightsport.com, which is going to be this big social media operation that is bringing Dungeons and Dragons, Comic-Con, and nerd culture to you in one place. Connecting you with your favorite creators and connecting creators with all of their fans. So
Yep.
nightsport.com or gamemastercraig.com, and if you sign up right now on gamemastercraig.com, you'll get a special bonus for being here from Crit Academy.
Oh, that's awesome. Go do that, because I'm going to do that as soon as I get off of here, actually. Because I want to know what cool bonus I get, because I'm a loot whore. In another life, I'm a dragon.
Well, so we have a connection with happyspacepopcon.com, which is one of my very close friend of mine, as well as Fayetteville Comic-Con. And they have given us access to run these very exclusive panels with people like Ash Ketchum, Veronica Taylor, the panels, the actors from Bleach, the anime Bleach, Aliens, if you're a fan of the Xenomorphs, we have an exclusive panel going up there. Jim Shooter, the former editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. We have a lot of Marvel Comics people on here. And so if you come over from Crit Academy, you get access to all those for free. Otherwise, they're $5 a pop.
I'm signing. I probably should wait till the show's over before I sign up.
Yeah.
I'm down. So once again, that's all awesome. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. I just linked the show notes, and as well as his Game Master Craig and the stream chat thing. Our show notes also has a link directly to his TikTok. So you can follow him there. Definitely check out his stuff. Like I said, I'm a really big fan. It was hard not to geek out and nerd out when he agreed to come on the show. I'm like, anyways. All right. So please join us on our next episode. We're going to be discussing Star Wars 5e. As I told you before, there's a lot of garbage out there, but I was super impressed with this that I decided that we're going to cover it because that's how I roll. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like to support us, head on over to critacademy.com, follow us on social media, leave us a review on iTunes. Even if you don't have iTunes, you can make a free account and leave a review, even if you don't use it after that. Every little bit helps because all of the other podcasting platforms pretty much pull from there. So do that if you can. It's really great.
Yeah.
I can't say enough. We are almost, I'm super excited. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is super exciting considering I gave no damns about that for a really, really long time. So now I'm pushing more content with our 1-minute Dungeon Master tip. So check that out as well. Also, finally, our Kickstarter that'll be launching. It is no longer, our superhero RPG has a new name. We have settled on Capes and Crooks. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have another game this upcoming Friday. So come and join us as we playtest. It's a lot of fun. Running my players through it.
Oh my!
I've already been knocked unconscious and I've killed somebody.
Yeah,
We're going great.
I'm
on fire.
Yeah, that's
Literally.
not going well for you as well. You're gonna end up DRT is gonna end up catching your guy, and you're gonna end up being locked in prison for being a douche.
We'll see about that.
I am your host, Justin. Craig, you're up.
I'm Game Master Craig.
And I'm your co-host, Austin.
I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. Thank you for everyone. Let's all wave to the cameras. See you guys later.